Today we have one mission to deliver these two A350 wings to the Airbus factory in Hamburg-Finkenwerder in Germany so that Inibuilds can finally fix the really sensitive pitch and roll behavior. But there is one catch: we have a cargo door malfunction, which means that we need to fly the whole route with the front cargo door open. We are today at the Airbus factory in Toulouse in France, and the experiment today is to compare the aerodynamic behavior and especially the fuel consumption of the aircraft with a normal flight without any cargo door issues. And trust me when I say you will be surprised by the results, not necessarily positively. Unlike our previous experiments, there is not really much to explain scientifically here, so let's just get started. To make a fair comparison, I will not use live weather as this obviously changes by the hour. I will use pretty much ISA conditions like in our last experiment, which means temperature of 15 degrees Celsius, QNH of 1013 and wind calm. And I will engage the autopilot as soon as we reach round about 1000 feet above ground. So, I'm doing a side-by-side comparison of the takeoff, and what we are looking for are changes in the aerodynamic behavior, things like extreme vibrations and shakings, because you know an open cargo door should definitely make the aircraft fly differently, right? Well, watch for yourself. So as you can see, a sheer disappointment, and I was kinda surprised and shocked by this, but on the other hand not really surprised because, well, it's Microsoft Flight Simulator after all. Okay, to be fair, we had no wind at all, but if we did the same comparison, even in windy conditions, I'm pretty sure that the aircraft will behave exactly the same. It seems that the open cargo door won't have an effect on the aircraft's aerodynamics, which of course does not make any sense. Now MSFS 2024 failed us regarding the aerodynamic behavior. What a surprise. But I mentioned something about the fuel consumption in the beginning of the video. Well then, let's just do exactly that. This should be different, right? Before I start, we need to take a look at the route we are flying in order to understand the intentions behind the fuel calculations I made. We started at runway 32 left in Toulouse with no SID. After takeoff, we did a slight right turn and a direct to a waypoint called Fisto. After reaching Fisto, there's a right turn again with a direct to a waypoint called Apnock. The top of climb is 50 nautical miles after Fisto, and the top of descent is around 100 nautical miles before Apnock. I made the fuel calculations between the top of climb and the top of descent. During cruise, obviously, the descent is not relevant because the engines will run mostly at idle. The fuel checks were made at specific points en route. I ignored the fuel on board because it was the same amount of around 20,000 kilos. What I was looking for is the figure fuel used. So here's a table of the fuel checks in a direct comparison to each other. At the left side you can see the fuel used with the cargo door closed, and at the right side is the fuel used figure with the cargo door malfunction. And to my surprise, this did actually made a difference. Well done, Microsoft. As you can see, at each of the waypoints, the Beluga burned around 420 kilograms more fuel than with a closed cargo door. Of course, this is nothing compared to the fuel consumption when having the landing gear down during the whole flight. And 420 kilos more fuel burn is not really much, but at least it did make a slight difference. We already started the descent, and here we are, just crossed the waypoint Apnock and are doing our final right turn to intercept the localizer for the ILS-05. I thought about other things to try out that are related to this topic, and I couldn't find anything other than this noticeable bad audio design. I mean, come on, we can still hear the cockpit fans from this underwing view, but we still have the landing though, so how about that? Will the aircraft behave differently in the landing? Well, let's find out. And again, for the landing we will do a side-by-side comparison. Watch for yourself and write down in the comments below what do you think is going to happen. And what I am looking for here is, like before, vibrations, shakings, a little bit of turbulence, anything that is abnormal. And here we are again, the next disappointment. But this time it was to be expected. At least we can enjoy this beautiful landing replay from outside. By the way, on the right side, the replay tool messed things up and closed the cargo door without the possibility to open it again. And it also messed up the time in the sim. This is why you are seeing the sun setting down instead of being in the afternoon. Apart from all this disappointment, our two A350 wings arrived safely at the destination. So any builds, I risked my career and my life for those two wings. Please fix the roll and pitch sensitivity. Or don't, I don't care, the A350 is awesome. And to you guys out there, thank you very much for sticking until the end. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. There is still a lot to experiment with in the Sim 2024, especially now with the Sim update 2 just around the corner. Wake turbulence is supposed to be finally working. This will be an interesting experiment. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to not miss out on the upcoming episodes. Thanks again, and as always, see you in the next one.